in a famine, impoverished land, and she's going to feed you. So what does Elijah do? It says he set out. He went to Zarephath. He trusted God. When he came to the gate of the town, lo and behold, who's the first person he should see? A widow gathering sticks, right? To cook some food, right? Gathering sticks. He called to her and said, excuse me, would you please bring me some water? I'm pretty thirsty. I've just traveled a long way. And she consented. She said, sure, I'll get you some water. Now, she was getting ready for her death meal, right? But here's a person who's asked her for a drink, and she says, sure, I'll put that on hold and I'll get you a drink. And as she turns around, he calls her and says, oh, excuse me, sorry to bother you again, but do you have a bite to eat? I'm really very hungry and I haven't eaten in a while. But she says, and this is she uses God's name to reinforce what she's saying. As the Lord your God lives, I have nothing baked and only a handful of meal in a jar, a handful of flour, and a little jug of oil. I'm now gathering these sticks here. Don't need very many because it's not going to take very long to bake this up because not very much to bake. I'm gathering a few sticks here. I'm going to go home. I'm going to prepare a final meal. A meal for myself and my son, that we may eat it and die. The famine was so severe that this widow had given up all hope of survival. She was a beggar to begin with. And there were no crops for 3 years. So even the wealthiest of people in the society were hurting. But she was the poorest with nothing to start with. Now she had even less. And she had no hope of surviving this drought. The rains had stopped coming. There had been no significant crops for 3 years. Just as the drought had dried up the land, the famine had dried up the hearts of the people, and they could no longer be generous. She was doomed, and she knew it. She had come to terms with this fact. Her famished son, whose ribs were probably sticking out, whose belly was in, whose face was probably emaciated, the bones were sticking out, were preparing to eat their last meal together. He didn't even have enough energy to get out of the house to help her carry sticks. He was getting ready, and she was getting ready to die together, mother and son. They would die in their house. In walks Elijah, the prophet of God. He says to her, don't be afraid. At this point, she should turn around, look at him with her skinny little face and say, are you crazy? What are you, a loony? Get out of here. But Elijah says, don't be afraid. Go and do as you have said. So he says, go and make the meal as you have said for your son and for you. I don't think he's saying here, go and make your meal and die. He's saying, go and make your meal as you have said you're going to do for you and your son. But before you make your own meal, make a little something for me and bring it to me. Again, she might respond, are you crazy? You must be crazy. Yeah, that's answering my question, my first question. Look, I said all I have is a handful of flour. There's not even enough here for me and my son, let alone a little for you too. But that's not how she responds. He says, go and make a little cake and bring it to me. And after you've made my food, make something for yourself and for your son. Somebody might argue, here Elijah's very greedy. He's saying to this poor, well, make me food first and then go make something for yourself. But listen to what he's saying. Don't be afraid. First give to God. I am God's prophet. First give to God. It's not about giving to Elijah. It's about the woman fulfilling God's promise to Elijah. What was God's promise? That the widow would feed him. And God will be honored. Regardless of what happens after this in the story, God has been honored because his promise becomes fulfilled as she makes the cake for Elijah. She fulfills God's promise. He says, first give to God's work, then take care of your own needs. Sound familiar? Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added. Fearless generosity in a time of horrendous economic tragedy. Some might argue that it would be stupid for the widow to obey the command or the request of Elijah. And indeed, by human standards, it is stupid. But sometimes God asks us to do the illogical, or the thing that seems stupid. And in the end, God is always glorified through it. Hey Moses, how about you lead this people up to the shore of the Red Sea and get them cornered in there between the sea with no escape from Pharaoh's army? Sound like a good idea, Moses? Hey Abraham, I got an idea. I know you're 100 years old and you only have one son and your wife is just about 102. Why don't you kill your son for God? Because God promises you that you're going to have descendants, thousands of them. And if you kill your son, you know he's going to come back. Go ahead, Abraham, why don't you do it? Don't worry about it. God promises. Sometimes God's suggestions, God's requests, God's commands seem stupid to us, or we don't understand them. But when God tells us to do something, it is with good, holy, and divine reasoning. And if we disobey God's command, we lose the chance of honoring Him and allowing His plan, which is always better than our own, to come to fruition. Now, we have disobeyed God. If we have disobeyed His command, He isn't honored. And guess what? We cannot be blessed by seeing His glorious actions. The widow was told, take the last of your food and prepare a little something, split it, divide it between us. Give me something first. Give Elijah something first. She could have went home. She said, sure. You just wait right here and I'll bring something back to you. Don't move a muscle. And she could have gone home and she could have prepared her meal. And she could have ate it with her son. This would have been the logical thing to do, to save her food for herself and her son. And sure, she probably would have lived a couple more days. In all likelihood, though, she would have died of starvation. They were at the brink of starvation as it was. That would have been the logical thing to do. Who in their right mind is going to give the last of their food away during a 3-year famine? Let's find out what God has to say, what He has in store for the widow. Verse 13. Elijah said to her, do not be afraid. Go and do as you have said. But first, make me a little cake and bring it to me. And afterwards, go back and make something for yourself and for your son. For this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. The jar of meal will not be emptied, and the jug of oil will not fail, until the day the Lord sends rain on the earth. Would you believe a guy who came to your door and said, give me the last of your possessions and don't worry because God's going to fill your cabinet up from here on out. Your cupboard's going to be full. You're going to have, every day you're going to open the cabinet, there's going to be a little food there for you, just enough to survive. You're like, oh good, here you go. And you're going to slam the door and lock it, deadbolt it, and put the chain on it. Go get the shotgun out. Look out the window, see if they're still there. But listen, she went, verse 15, she went and did just as Elijah said, so that she, as well as he and her household, ate for many days. The jar of meal was not emptied, neither did the jug of oil fail, according to the word that the Lord spoke by Elijah. She obeyed God, and her every need was miraculously met. Now, hear me when I say, I am not telling you that if you put $100 in the plate today, God is going to provide you with that 27-inch plasma screen TV. That's not a very big one. 67-inch plasma screen TV. He's going to send you that flat screen that you've always wanted. I'm not saying that for a donation of $20, you'll get a special endowment of the Holy Spirit in your life. I'm not